morning student. See, in previous year we have seen H1 NMR spectroscopy and some simple fundamentals things about carbon 13 NMR spectroscopy. Okay, now see here in this lecture we will recapitulate basic things of carbon 13 NMR spectroscopy, those we have seen in last semester. Okay, let us see. Carbon 13 NMR recapitulation. See, what do you know about carbon 13 NMR spectroscopy? Okay, let us see. See, there are two isotopes of carbon majorly. One is carbon 12 and second one is carbon 13. There is also carbon 14 isotope of carbon, but we are not interested in carbon 14. Okay, so here carbon 12 and carbon 13, if we see these two isotopes of carbon, isn't it, carbon 12 is NMR inactive. Carbon 12 is NMR inactive, while carbon 13 is NMR active. Why is it so? Why carbon 12 is NMR inactive while carbon 13 is NMR active? Okay, if we find answer of this question, you will find out that carbon 12 is having I is equal to 0. Okay, its spin quantum number I is equal to 0. It is having even number of proton and even number of neutron. Okay, hence its I is equal to what? 0. While if we see carbon 13, it is having spin quantum number I is equal to half. If we see carbon 13, it is having spin quantum number I is equal to half. Okay, see, if we remember in first lecture of NMR, proton NMR, we have seen there in last semester or in last year, we have seen there which are the nuclei are NMR active. Those who are having either odd mass number or odd atomic number, only those nuclei are NMR active. Okay, so carbon 12 is having even number of atomic number and even number of mass number, hence carbon 12 is not NMR active. While if we see carbon 13 is having even number of atomic number, but it is having odd mass number, hence it is what? NMR active. This is what we have seen, isn't it? So you have understood, I hope you have understood why carbon 12 is NMR inactive or why carbon 13 is NMR active. Okay, so this is what the first thing that we have seen here. Now second point of discussion is suppose if we compare carbon 13 NMR with 1H NMR. If we compare carbon 13 NMR spectroscopic technique with 1H NMR spectroscopic technique, which is more sensitive, which is more reliable, which is more giving result very quickly and within the time, and that is applicable to all sample very easily. Okay, so our answer is what? 1H NMR. Our answer is what? 1H NMR. Carbon 13 is not that much sensitive as compared to 1H NMR technique, but it is useful technique. But carbon 13 is also useful technique. Now, why carbon 13 NMR is not that much sensible or not that much sensitive than 1H NMR? Let us see. First point is natural abundance. Natural abundance of carbon 13 isotope. First point is what? natural abundance of carbon 13 isotope. Okay, now if we see natural abundance of carbon 13 isotope is around 1.08%, only 1.08%, and there is what, around 98% carbon 12 isotope. Okay, there is 98% is what, carbon 12 isotope, and only 1.08% is what, carbon 13 isotope. Here it is 98.9, you may say 98.9%. there is what, sorry, 98.9 there is percentage of carbon 12 isotope. Okay, and this carbon 12 is NMR inactive. This carbon 12 is NMR inactive. This is what we have seen. Now our point of discussion is what? Why carbon 13 NMR is less sensitive than 1H NMR. Okay, this is what our point of discussion. Okay, so first point to answer this question is what? Natural abundance of carbon 13 NMR is very low. Natural abundance of carbon 13 isotope is very low as compared to carbon 12 isotope. Okay, and that carbon 12 is NMR inactive while carbon 13 is NMR active. Okay, now, so what will happen because of this isotopic abundance? What will happen because of this isotopic abundance? Okay, if we take suppose some example. Okay, if we take some example like N-pentane, very smaller example we have taken, that is having only just 5 carbon atom, and if we have to record carbon 13 NMR of this sample, if we have to record carbon 13 NMR of this sample N-pentane, okay, so we have taken sample of N-pentane and we have to record carbon 13 NMR of this sample. What will happen? What will happen? See, when we are going to record carbon 13 NMR of this sample, what will happen? We should want this carbon should be carbon 13, 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 this carbon should be carbon 13. If such thing is there, if such possibility is there, that means every carbon of N-pentane is carbon 13. Every carbon of N-pentane is carbon 13. Then we will get very quick result. That means we will get very quickly carbon 13 NMR spectrum of this N-pentane. But this is not possible. This is not possible that each carbon of N-pentane is carbon 13. Why it is not possible? Because natural abundance of carbon 13 nuclei is how much? Only 1.08%, that is around 1.1%. So what will be the possibility of this carbon? What will be the possibility of this carbon? Will be carbon 13. Okay, that what will be the possibility of this carbon will be carbon 13? It will be very negligible. It will be very negligible. Hence we want very large amount of sample as compared to 1H NMR sample for recording carbon 13 NMR. Okay, so first of all, suppose if we want to record 1H NMR, we have to give around 5 milligram of sample. We have to give around even 3-4 milligram of pure sample is also enough. Okay, so generally suppose if we give 5 to 6 milligram of sample for recording 1H NMR, that is enough. Okay, but when we have to record carbon 13 NMR, we want to give around 50 to 70 milligram of sample, at least 50 to 70 milligram of sample for recording carbon 13 NMR. Okay, and giving this much sample, we have to give more time for what? Scanning. For what? Scanning. That means recording spectra, it will take much more time in case of carbon 13, and here we will get spectrum hardly within 5 minutes, and here we will get spectrum around 2 hours, around 3 hours. Sometimes it may take night also. Okay, that means around 10 to 12 hours also. Why is it so? First point is what? Natural abundance. Natural abundance of carbon-13 nucleus is very low. Okay, hence we will not get all these nuclei as a carbon-13. But when we will give this 50 to 70 milligram of sample, then there will be what? Then there will be a n number of molecules. Then there will be a n number of molecules of n-pentane. Then there will be what? N number of molecules of n-pentane. There will be a very large number of molecules of n-pentane, isn't it? So in that there will be a chance. That one carbon in one molecule can become a carbon-13. One carbon in one molecule can become a carbon-13. Okay, suppose n number of molecules. Suppose here I say there are 1000 molecules. So 1000 molecules means what? How much percent there will be a carbon? In that we will have 10 carbon. Suppose if I consider 1%. Okay, so I may get 10 carbon of n-pentane as carbon-13. I will get what? 10 carbon of n-pentane molecule as a carbon-13. 10 carbon of n-pentane molecule means what? In one n-pentane molecule, suppose this is first n-pentane molecule, then this carbon will be a carbon-13. Suppose second n-pentane molecule, okay, in that this carbon will be a carbon-13. In next n-pentane molecule, this carbon will be a carbon-13. Okay, and in next n-pentane molecule, this carbon will be a carbon-13, and in next n-pentane molecule, this carbon will be carbon-13. Like that. So there will be in 1000 molecules of n-pentane, there will be 2 molecules of n-pentane in which first carbon is carbon-13. There will be 2 molecules of n-pentane in which this carbon has a carbon-13. There will be 2 molecules of n-pentane in which this carbon has a carbon-13. There will be 2 molecules of n-pentane in which this carbon has a carbon-13. There will be 2 molecules of this in which last carbon has a carbon-13. So in this way we will get carbon-13 NMR spectrum. That means we have to record that carbon-13 NMR spectrum for a longer time. So this molecule will give carbon-13 NMR signal for carbon number 1. This molecule, this type of molecule, that means those who are having carbon 1 as a carbon-13, they will give this signal for carbon-13. Now in next scan, those molecules who are having second carbon as a carbon-13, that signal we will get. In next this. So here in this way we will get number of signals. In this way we will get number of signal. Suppose if here there are 5 different types of carbon, then we will get 5 different types of signal. Isn't it? In that way we will get different types of carbon-13 peak in based on the different types of carbon atom. So here this carbon atom and this carbon atom are same, so we will get same peak for it, isn't it? So we will get same peak for it. These two are same, we will get same peak for it, and this one is different, so we will get different peak for it. So we will get 3 different peaks for this carbon-13 NMR spectrum. Okay, so this is what isotopic abundance, because of lower isotopic abundance of carbon-13 nucleus. Okay, we will not get spectrum very easily as compared to 1H NMR. Okay, second point is what? what will be the chance? What will be the chance that suppose if we take this n-pentane molecule, okay, what will be the chance that two carbon of any molecule, two adjacent carbon of any molecule are carbon 13? Is there will be any chance? No, this possibility is very rare. This type of possibility is very rare. Suppose if we take a very big molecule, that big molecule is having 1000 carbon atom. Okay, that big molecule is having suppose 1000 carbon atom. In that 1000 carbon atom molecule, there will be 10 carbon. That 10 carbon will be carbon 13 isotopes. Okay, so in that 1000 numbered, that means 1000 carbon molecule, so that two molecules of carbon 13 that will be adjacent to each other, that possibility will be there, but 1000 मॉलिक्यूल का कार्बन का कोई मॉलिक्यूल हमारे पास अभी मतलब स्पेक्ट्रा के लिए हम उसका स्पेक्ट्रा भी नहीं ले सकते हैं. Isn't it like that? This is the possibility. Okay, so if we have very simple molecules around 30-40 carbon atoms, peptide proteins, okay, so in that also there will be a very rare possibility that two adjacent carbon are carbon 13 active. Okay, so if they are active, then there will be a trouble in analysis. Then there will be a what? Trouble in what? Analysis. So this we don't want that two carbon should be active carbon 13 and they should be adjacent to each other. That we don't want, and by nature law, that is by this isotopic abundance law, we will not get it. Okay, and that is very good thing for all of us or for chemist peoples, isn't it? Now second point, next point, magnetogyric ratio. Magnetogyric ratio. Okay, or it is also called gyromagnetic ratio. It's a physical quantity like dielectric constant, okay, surface tension. It's a physical quantity of these nucleus, 1H nucleus, carbon 13 nucleus, isn't it? So this magnetogyric ratio or gyromagnetic ratio is very smaller, for carbon 13 nucleus, is very smaller for carbon 13 nucleus as compared to 1H nucleus. As compared to what? 1H nucleus, that is proton nucleus. So this magnetogyric ratio or gyromagnetic ratio for carbon 13 nucleus is very smaller. Hence this carbon 13 is low sensitive, that is very lower sensitive as compared to 1H nucleus. Is that clear? I hope you have understood why 1H NMR is more sensitive than carbon 13 NMR. Isn't it? So we will stop here. Thank you very much. Wish you happy learning. Thank you.